Hey everybody, it's Matthew Reinhart. Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2020 and welcome back to the Pop-Up Masterclass. I am your professor, Matthew Reinhart, and we're gonna learn some pop-up techniques. What's this mouse doing here? I need to get that out of here. We need to clear our workspace here. I'm actually not back in my usual studio. This is my second studio here in Miami. That's right, yay. So I'm actually wearing a bathing suit right now and getting ready to go out on the beach. But I thought I'd show everybody how to make some pop-ups. How about that, class? You think that's good? I know you're not happy about being back after the long vacation. Technically, I'm still on mine, but too bad for you. You're gonna learn pop-ups. Not really too bad. It's great for you. So shall we get started? Okay, let's do it. We're going to learn how to make a sphere, a pop-up sphere. And it's really kind of hard. And there's a lot of steps that go along with it and all this sort of stuff. But to make a round object, curves making pop-ups, when you think about it, like look at paper. It's flat, right? Like how are we going to make a ball, a sphere? How are we going to do that? Well, there's a lot of different steps. And I think, should we look at one that in another pop-up? Let's do that. All right, inside, this is my Cinderella book from about 12, 13 years ago. And you can see on this spread, there is a pop-up of Cinderella and her carriage before she goes to the ball. Doesn't she look fabulous? And there are all the horses. But the main thing that we want to look at, that sphere that is the carriage that was made magically from her fairy godmother. It was made from a pumpkin into a carriage. So this is sort of a sphere. Now I don't use this very complicated sphere anymore. You can make them a little bit easier, but you can basically see that it goes from being flat, like think about it like a flat basketball, and then it's sort of pulled open when the pop-up opens. So you can see how it opens and closes, but it really just gets flat. So like think about when we're going to make this sphere. It's going to get the flattened version of our sphere is going to get really, really big. So, and then when it becomes more three-dimensional and spherical, it's going to actually contract and get smaller, okay? So you're going to need a large base page to make a pop-up sphere. All right, so we get started? All right. Let's go. We're going to use some 110-pound cardstock, and I'm going to use different colors just so you can see how the different pieces interact with each other. I think I'll just use this cardstock here. And we're going to cut a big strip to start, going right across. Just like that. Okay. And we want to make sure, as best as we can, that strip is a real rectangle, right? So I'm just going to use my straight edge here to make sure that this edge here is parallel. These are parallel. I want to start from a good place, right? We want to start from it being as close to shored up as possible. All right, so here it is. Here's one of our strips, and I'm just thinking, how big do we want to make our? I think this is going to be one side. Yes. So the first thing we have to do is fold it in half, like so. This is going to be our guide piece. This is going to be the piece that we trace over about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably about 6 times. So this is going to be our guide piece. So I folded it going this way first. We're not actually going to use this in the pop. All right. So there it is, folded in half. And you know how I always like to mark where that fold is there with a pencil. And now we're going to fold it going long ways as well, like this. So you gotta do it real careful like. Let's see, let me make sure that corner is, sometimes it's a little harder to do this part, right? Because it's so long. Make sure the edges are, it's also hard to do this when you're shooting a video and the arm of the camera holder thing, the tripod is right in your face. I just tasted the tripod. It's really great. All right, so there is that center line. So we have, I'm just going to mark that for you so you can see. Can everyone see that? It's kind of hard, isn't it? maybe it's the light. The thing is so, there you go. So there's the center. Now, we need to make a shape that's kind of like this. We're going to fold it in, like I said, it's going to be folded in half like this, and then like this. And well, I'm going to do it this way first. Let's fold it in half, and we're actually going to cut it kind of like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, see how I did that, how I cut that angled? Then I'm going to fold it in half. And now I can see that that's where I need to cut it on the other side. It needs to be symmetrical, right? I'm asking you, right? But I'm telling you, yes, that's right. Real good. All right. We just want, what we want is we want these pieces to be symmetrical going long ways and also going across. So you're going to get a shape kind of like this. This is the strip that we are going to make. So now that we've made, this is our guide one. Now let's take, I'm going to do this lighter color, I think. Now let's make sure that we've got these all right. Oops, it's a little off there. I'm just going to fix that and fix that. There we go. Okay, so this is our guide, right? And now I'm just going to trace it using a pencil. I'll line it up right like this, going across my paper. And I'm going to mark where the center is there. I'm going to trace these. So I'm going to make 8 of these strips, just like this. Tracing with my pencil, tracing with my pencil. Ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah. And then cut them out. So what did I say, make 8 of them? Let's make 8 of them to start. We may need to make 1 or we may use too many of them. Oh, the other thing before you start cutting everything, make sure that you mark the center. I want to see what I did right here. I'm going to mark the center going right there. Let me bring that up there so you can see. See that center? Just marking there. And I know that the center's over here, but we'll mark it again. And I know some people, there, see how I marked that? In there, in there. Now, so I know some people don't have like tools like this where, you know, we have a 90-degree angle and, you know, metal sort of ruler thing like this. You can always use an unused piece of cardstock like this to make measurements. And so, you know, I can use that edge right there, right here, as my straight edge and make that line. See, it works just like a ruler. So you can always, and you always know if you want to use, like if you want to find a 90-degree angle, you can always use this edge. It's always a 90-degree angle because it's been cut and it's all perfect and nice and it's already set for you. So that's just a little tip. Because not everybody has all these fabulous tools, you know, like all I'm using, well, I am using double stick tape, markers and stuff like that. But this is just masking tape. You know, sometimes I have that white artist tape and that's what I use in my prototypes. But you can also use masking tape for one-sided tape. One of the reasons why I like masking tape and or artist tape is because it's more fibrous and it's not like plastic clear tape. So, which is also good for certain things, you know, like double stick tape is like one of my best friends. But what's great about masking tape is it sort of has like a fiber in there so that when you make pop-up hinges, they move better. So anyways, that's just a tip. All right. So now I'm going to cut this out and we'll cut out all these pieces. And like I said, we're going to cut out 8. We might need more. We may need less. I can't, we're experimenting and seeing how this is all going to go. So. got our bands right here that I've cut. I've got about 8 of them, and they all have that center line on them. And now what we're going to need to do is make a base page. So how do we do that? We just take a piece of cardstock for our base page and we fold it in half, making a hamburger fold. I'm kind of hungry now. All right, and I'm going to fold it the opposite way too, so we can really see that line, and in the center, that is. And I'm going to also mark it with a pencil just so you can see it out there in the YouTube land. There we go. Or any other video land out there. Who knows where my videos are going to show up next? Ooh. All right, so there we go. We've got the first starting of the pieces that we're going to make for our pop-up sphere. So let's take 2 of our bands. Put this aside here. We got some room. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually attach them sort of like to the base page, but we're going to attach them so that they kind of make a curve. So let's start off by using some one-sided tape. You can use clear plastic Scotch tape, or you could use masking tape, or you can use white artist tape, but as long as it's on one-sided only. And I'm just going to attach these 2 just like this. See how I attached it on the outside? And I actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure that the fold lines, see both of those fold lines there? See that? See that? They're on the same side. And I'm going to make sure they're on the inside. And see how this makes a circle? Look at. So already we've taken flat 2D paper and started to make some curves. All right. So we are going to attach this to the base page like so. And I'm going to put about this much double stick clear tape on this lower edge, just kind of like that. See how I've done that? Just about like that far in. I'm going to do the same for the other side. Make sure you use the exact same amount. So like on this one, I used a little bit too much. I'm going to pull it up and push. Just a little too crazy on there. So just be real careful with that. Let's see if I can pull up that tape a little. Just do that. Just pull it down. See how I just kind of like want to make sure, yeah, that's about right. I just want to make sure, let's see if you can see it. Let's see, oh, there's a reflection. See how they're kind of, so they're the same height. Yeah, see, that's how much I used. All right. And we're going to put the double stick tape on one side, down on the base page, just like that. Then I'm going to fold this like that, and the double stick tape is right here. And all I'm going to do is fold my base page shut, just like that. All right, so now we've started to get a curved shape. Something like that. See how that looks? Now that doesn't look real spherical, does it? No, not yet. But it will, All right. So it's on the page. Now you're going to notice that the sphere goes way beyond the base page. And we can fix that later. We're not worrying about that right now. So now you can see that our first arch, our first sort of circle that we're building this sphere with, that's how it's going to pop up. And you'll also notice too, like the top edge, look at that, it's real tear shaped. We're going to eventually get it to curve more like that. Now the way I'm looking at this now, I'm thinking about it, I might have used too much double stick on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it up just a bit. And I'm going to use my ruler and measure, maybe I'll do it about, I'll pull it up to about an inch, like right there. I'm going to do that the same on both sides. Now we still have that double stick tape under there. You're going to see, look at the double stick tape is right there. And it's still going to stick down when I close it. So what I'm going to do to block the stickiness of that tape, I'm just going to take some masking tape or clear, clear regular Scotch tape. I'm just going to cover it up. So now it won't stick there anymore. Let's do the same on this side. We're just going to pull it up a little to that about 1 inch mark. You know, making pop-ups, sometimes you got to experiment to see if things work right. And if you have the double stick, if it sticks to this side, all you do is make sure you cover it with your masking tape, just like that, on that side. All right, so now here we have it. Here we have our shape. Wow, that's a great sphere. All done. Bye. You think that's the way it goes? No, it doesn't go like that. All right, now what we're going to need to do is we're going to actually make something that pushes out on the inside here and pushes out our sphere a little so that it will be a little bit wider. We want to make sure that our first circle starting out is bowing outward more like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually make a bridge going all the way across in the center of the sphere. And I'm looking at it, and we need to make, let's take a piece of this blue cardstock. And we need to make it about, let's see, when we push it like this, it's hard to do this when let's see, when you push it like this, we need to make it about, oh gosh, about this high. So we're going to make a rectangle. It's going to go inside. Let's see here. We're going to make a rectangle. It's kind of like, we're going to make a rectangle, and we're going to double it over. We're going to fold it in half so that it's doubly strong. See? And let's make sure, is that the height we want? I'm looking at it. And let's look at the inside here. We want to make it about the height when the circle is, oh God, this is hard to show. We want to make it a little bit shorter so that when it's pushed out, okay, so it's about the height of where, it's about the height of where, see where that line is, that center line? Let's see if you can see it. See that? Can't point at it because I'm holding it. But we want it about that height above from the base page. And what I did was I actually made a longer, it's actually twice as long, this piece. So it's just a little stronger. I'm going to shorten it just a tad. And then I'm going to use some double stick, or you can use glue if you really, really want to. And I'm going to tape it to itself, so it's just like a doubled over piece of cardstock. And then we're going to tape it down to the base page using some masking tape or whatever one-sided tape you're going to be using to build your pop. And I'm going to tape it down both sides just so it's extra strong. So see, that's going to go in there. And then we are going to make a bridge going across to that center both ways. So let's close it. And you know what let's do? Let's just pull this up just a bit so we can look at this when it closes. This is what it's going to look like on one side when it closes. And we need to make a bridge that kind of goes from here to here. All right? So let's measure that. Let's see. Let's try that. Will that be enough? Let's see. Is that enough to push it out? I don't know. We may need to make it longer. Let's see. Let's make it that long. And what we're going to do is, since it's that long, oh, we need to do this too. We're going to tape it to there using double stick. Now let's move in a little closer. There we go. So see that? Get out of there, scrap paper. So we're going to tape it to the inside using masking tape, just like that. And the one thing that happened though here is, if you look, it's going over this edge just a bit. What you may want to do, let's just mark it right there. Let's just cut that a little, that center sort of strengthening piece, let's cut it a little shorter so that it meets this piece. We're going to tape it to it. Let's look. That's looking pretty good. You think that'll work? I don't know. That doesn't look good. We need it, because I'm looking at it from here, what it's going to look like. It needs to be that far out. So let's keep working on this. Let's see now. Let's make this piece a little longer. Sometimes you got to keep making mistakes in order to figure out the right answer. That's how a lot of what I do, I'm figuring it out as I go along. So I'm going to figure it out with you here. Lucky you. Oh, you get to see me make all kinds of mistakes. So did I make this piece a little bit longer? Yeah, look at that. I made it longer. So this is the bridge that's going to go towards the outer strip. Let's see how that looks. Let's see if that's going to give us what we want. I think that's going to work. I think that's going to work. Maybe I'll just lower it just a bit. And I'll make this piece a little shorter. You got to keep experimenting. You know, a lot of times people think that you're going to get it right the first time, and I so don't. And I want you guys to see that, like, even somebody who's a professional like me doesn't always have the exact answer for you every second. You've got to, you know, sometimes make these mistakes and learn stuff. And I'm glad that you're seeing me make lots of mistakes. So after I've made this one first bridge, let's make a second one that needs to be exactly the same size. So I'm just going to take this piece and mark it like that. And, you know, sort of like that, and that. Make sure that this edge and this edge are parallel. Okay, so let's see, is that about right? That's about right. That's pretty close. So we're going to tape it to the opposite side. Okay, so see how that works? So now, let's close this shut. Let's put a little bit of extra masking tape underneath this side, and the sticky side is up. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this over like so. And now it's attached on both sides. Look at that. There's a bridge going either side. And let's reattach this masking tape up top in place. All right, let's see how that looks. Look at that. When we open and close it, make sure that's nice and flat. Oh, let's get rid of this extra. Messy. So messy. All right. So now we've got, mistake. Something's happening there. Let's see. Now, okay, there. Now we've got these arms pushing out the outside of our circle, just like that. So we're getting there. We're getting there, students. We're getting there. Okay, but one of the things I'm looking at, look at how wobbly that is. We don't want that. Look at how wobbly. So we're just going to quickly, let's see, what's the best way to do this? Oh, it's super easy. Let's make a square. It's just going to be a small square. We're just going to make some stabilizing 90-degree V-folds, right? We're just going to go, there's one 90-degree angle. We can actually look on our mat there. That's a 90-degree angle right there, right? I'm going to fold it in half. I'm just thinking, is that going to, yep. All right, let's pull this up again. Sometimes you got to pull up what you've done and add pieces. And that's what we're going to do right here. I'm going to add, I made that a little too big. So we're going to have two V-folds, and we're going to add them to either side of this. Remember the doubled over part here? We're going to add a V-fold to either side. That's a 90-degree angle V-fold. Oh, here's the second one. So there's two of these, right? Can you see that? They're 90-degree V-folds. And I'm going to add one to this side. Let's see, is that going to work? I'm going to make them a little smaller. You can make them, I think I need to make them a little shorter. There we go. Just like that. So I made them short. I'm going to tape them down using masking tape, or using one-sided tape, I should say. Okay, there's one side. See how that's attached? Right there. And you're going to do the same to the other side. I'm just going to add the other one over on this side. Okay, so on both sides of our strengthened center strut, we have a 90-degree V-fold. And we're going to tape it down to the base page here. So I'm just going to lay it flat. See how it attaches? Like that. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. That's what it's going to look like when it's flattened. Come on, tape. Oh, man. Don't you hate that? Okay, let's get that tape this time. Come on with me, tape. Come on. Don't be difficult. Ah, yeah. So I'm just going to use some one-sided tape just like this. You can fold it up if you want. And then I'm going to close the pop so that it goes in place. So now, look at that. So those two V-folds work against each other and keep this center strut going straight up. And I think we've done this before in previous pops. Now we have to reattach these ends here that have tape, and I'm going to just get rid of it and re-add tape on there. Because sometimes if the tape gets a little dirty after you've pulled it up a couple of times, then you got to change it. That's just the way it goes. So let's just change that there. And we're going to close this, and it finds its place. And there's one side attached. Here's the other side. That's where it's going to go right, or somewhere around there. There it goes, just like that. Okay, what did we forget? Oh, we got to re-add this center one. And if you want, I can get rid of that and add new tape so it sticks better. That's probably a good idea. I'm going to do it the opposite way though this time. I'm going to tape it on the underside so that all I have to do is put it down just like that. All right, so now what's great is those 90-degree angles that we added down at the bottom of our strut and the interior of our future sphere. Look how much it doesn't go back and forth anymore. Look, gives it nice stable base. Isn't that cool? All right, so now let's start adding the other bands. And I'm just going to do it maybe I'll do it while I have the card closed. Okay, so here we have our struts in the center. We have our V-folds down here. Now I'm looking at this shape and it's still kind of tear shaped. So let's use some more masking tape or one-sided tape. And I'm just going to thread it through here, and I'm going to make sure that our lower part of the circle here attaches a little bit further up. See how I've got that? So now it's pulling it down just a bit more. Sometimes, you got to experiment and see how your mechanism is working and then adjust it accordingly. So that's what I'm doing right here with you all. I never know exactly that I'm going to do this right. So that's why it's important for you to see me making mistakes. Okay, that's getting better. Now we'll deal with this later on. Okay, so now we're going to add the straps going around. Okay, remember these extra straps that we made? Let's add them. Let's add one. Here's the center. What we're going to do is we're going to close our pop-up shut. We're going to add some double stick tape right along here around the center part. See that? There's double stick there. And I'm just going to lay it on top. It kind of makes a cross, right? So these are going, this is kind of perpendicular to the one right here. There we go. All right. So that's going to attach going that way. So what do we need to do? We need to go to the other side. Add some double stick. And add another one on the opposite side, just like this. And make sure that they meet up on the ends. Pressing that down. So now you get something like that, right? What do? Well, we use some one-sided tape, like this masking tape. And we attach across the straps, just like this. And let's do the same for the other side. You can look at it when it's closed like this, and stick some masking tape, one-sided tape on the other side. So now look at that. Okay, so we've got two different sort of equators going around our sphere. Look at that. It's Doing pretty good. So maybe we should add some to fill in the rest of our sphere. So let's close this again. You're going to notice, like, when I build stuff, sometimes here's the way the page looks when it's closed. And then when I open it up, I kind of peel it back. Something like that. Now, we just want to add one going across that way. So what do? Hey, double-sided tape right in the center. I'm just going to center it. Make sure that center line kind of goes around there. That looks nice. Okay, what do? Go around, other side. Let's add another one. I'm using some double stick. I'm just going to make sure that that's lined up on both ends, down here and over here. Make sure it's taped down. And then what do? We attach the ends, again, just like we did before. Now, I'm only using a few straps to make this sphere pop. However, you can use as many of these straps. Okay, so here we go. Oops, that got a little stuck because there was double stick on the inside. Can't have that. Oh, look, we're starting to make a sphere. Look at that. But you can make as many of these straps as you want to go around your sphere. The more straps you have, the better you're going to get a sphere shape. But for our purposes here, we're just going to do these. We're going to do one more. So let's add some double stick right here. See, I told you this was going to be a long one, everyone. And we're going to center it just like that. That should be good. See, is that right? That looks about right. Let's turn it over. And we're going to add our last strap that we cut. Here we go. Come over here. We're going to line it up just like we did before. See how it's lined up here and on this end? Make sure it's taped down. Okay? Look at they're free. It's free. We don't want that. Use some one-sided tape, masking tape, whatever, or artist tape. Tape down the edges. There's one. Oh, sometimes it's hard to get in there. There we go. Make sure it gets in there. So there we go. We've made a pop-up sphere. Now, let's look at this sphere. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. You know what would make it work better, probably? Let's see. Well, let's look. Let's look inside. I'm seeing from just here, from peeking in, see those long rectangles that we use to push out this center? It kind of pushes it out when it opens. Well, they're bending a little. You can't see it, but let's look. Let's see if we can. It's bending just slightly. So I have an idea for fixing that. Let's just cut this. Oh no, he's cutting our pop-up. Oh no, what's going to happen? Nothing. We'll tape it back. Calm down, everyone. All right, so because there's so much tension here, pulling these different strips in different directions, this bridge, let's double up each side. So I'm going to make a rectangle this big and a rectangle this big. Let's see what I got here. Oh, here we go. Here's some of my scrap. So I'm just going to make two rectangles, make sure that they're the right size. And I'm just going to double up those bridges on the interior. Let's see here. That should be about right? Make sure that they're around that size. Ooh, that's a little small. Uh-oh. Mistake. All right, let's try it again. Let's see. I'm going to measure it this time. How do I measure it? I'm just going to stick it in there. I mark it with my pencil, which has escaped. Oh, look at that. Tape everywhere. That's what my office looks like. There's like tape everywhere. It's a mess, but a fun mess. There we go. That's a little better. I'm going to use one. There's one. And it just needs a little bit of extra paper to strengthen this bridge on the inside so that it pushes out enough to give our sphere, to make our sphere rounded. Sometimes we have to double up paper in order for it to be strong enough. Sometimes I've even tripled up paper, but I don't like to do that as often. There are other ways to strengthen paper struts like that, but for this it will work pretty well, I think. Okay, so now that those have been double sticked into place, and that should give those bridges on the interior a little bit of extra strength. So I'm going to close this back and tape back my outer sphere struts, or whatever, those bands that went across. Now, when I'm making this pop up later on, when I'm remaking it and rebuilding it, I won't use several different sized bands and glue them together. I'll actually be able to make pieces that are all attached to each other. Okay, so let's look at this. All right, so there is our pop-up sphere. It works pretty well, you know, like the only thing is we don't have, if we made these pieces up here flange out and were a little wider on this part here, they would meet and fill in the rest of the sphere like kind of like that. Or if you added even more thinner strips like this going across, maybe there's 8 strips, or maybe there's, you know, different bands that go around. If you did the more and more you get, the closer you will get to making an actual sphere. But this is pretty close, considering that we're making a completely three-dimensional, rounded, spherical object from 2D paper. And here's another thing now. Let's look at this base page. It's really sticking out of the base page, isn't it? So let's just take some cardstock and we'll add to the outside of our base page, just using some double stick tape. I love this double stick tape. It really is kind of magic how tape, you can take this thing, this tape, this utilitarian stuff, and make something so sort of different from it, something dimensional using just tape and paper. It's kind of cool, right? I did a pretty good job. It's pretty fun, but what's more fun is actually getting to share this all with everyone. You know, it's hard to make some of these videos sometimes, and I get really crabby because I don't want to make videos, but actually once I start doing it, then I have a really good time. Because then I refigure out how I do stuff, and sometimes it inspires me to do different things. So I love that. Now, you know, I always encourage my students, please send me pictures, videos of what you've created from the pop-up masterclass. I would love to see them. It's really exciting for me to share what I do, but it's even more exciting to see the really cool stuff that you create, and hopefully you can do it even better than me and put me out of a job. Yeah! So let's put on this base page here. Okay, and there's a little too much there, so I'm just going to cut it off. And the reason why I'm adding this base page, oops, that's really off. That's even off too. Well, who cares? The reason why I'm adding this base page, oops. Yeah. Okay, the reason why I'm adding this base page, because I want you to see, oopsie, it's stuck. I want you to see how big the shape is compared to the base page. So look at how, this is the size of a sphere that will pretty much take up the entire base page. Look at when it's flat, right? So you need a lot of space on your page, on your base page, to build a sphere. See how flat it gets? And see how much space it takes up when it's flattened? And then when it's open, it's not as big. So there are other ways to do spheres. I figured out a couple weird new ways recently, especially in my new Star Wars book, that is very different from this, that makes a bigger sphere on the page. But you can see, you know, how much work goes into making a pop-up sphere and how much space you need on your page to make it. So that's all for today, class. I hope you've enjoyed this pop-up masterclass. It's me, Matthew Reinhart, Well, that's Professor Reinhart to you. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I've had a lot of fun. This was a hard pop-up to make, wasn't it? Maybe we should do something easier next time. Hey, listen, if there are some mechanisms that you want to learn about, be sure to put your ideas down in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe. But this was a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed making a pop-up sphere. See you next class, everybody. Bye-bye.